With me now on the phone, former FBI Assistant Director Ron Hosko. Ron, with what you're hearing now, we've now held the press conference. We know a little bit more about what took place there at Ohio State University today. What does it say to you? Is this a terrorist attack, a lone wolf terrorist attack?
Boy, it sure is starting to sound like that and feel like that. Just over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, we've been hearing these reports that Jeff referenced, that ISIS is putting out its propaganda again, calling for attacks of any kind, but certainly involving vehicles. Here we have what sounds like a deliberate effort to use a vehicle, whether the attacker was using that vehicle against a primary target that he knew and was targeting, or whether it was in effect random because he saw a cluster of people. And then he gets out of that vehicle, that is a 2,000-pound weapon or a 4,000-pound weapon, with a butcher knife, and starts to go after other people on the street. It certainly has echoes of the attack in Nice, France, very recently. It echoes of ISIS's call to potential attackers to use whatever tools at their disposal. And certainly a couple 1,000-pound vehicle and a butcher knife are tools that are readily available to anyone. So it does seem like
well, and that's, Ron, I want to go ahead and tell people, we don't at this point in time know for certain that it was in fact a lone wolf terrorist attack. But as we've been indicating, it certainly sounds like there are indications that that could in fact be the case here. I think what's interesting is we just had the Thanksgiving holiday where the NYPD really, had 3,000 police officers on the ground in terms of lining the parade route here to protect millions of people here in New York City. What are we going to have to do as a country if these are the types of attacks we may end up starting to see involving vehicles like we did last year in Nice, France? We can protect parades and scheduled events, but how do we go about protecting ourselves every single day, going about our normal lives?
Yeah, frankly, that is just flat out impossible. The risk that's posed by a vehicle in America to whether plow through an intersection, it's America. And we have very, very busy intersections every day, whether it's New York City or an area around a student union building as students are gathering. That is impossible to do in a country that is so free, where vehicles are ubiquitous, and it comes back to looking for this broken ideology of terrorism, of all Americans looking at what's going on around them, first to raise awareness of my own actions and what's going on around me, but to look at other people and look for people who are starting to be pulled into a broken ideology that is ISIS or terrorism in our country, and start to identify those indicators, report them to law enforcement, and try to get ahead of it from that perspective, because we certainly cannot protect ourselves against a fast-moving vehicle with a determined driver who wants to bring harm.
Before I let you go, when you hear that it's a 20-year-old man of Somali descent, possibly, does that specify anything to you?
Well, it does. And typically, from an FBI and terrorism perspective, we're looking at folks from Somalia, this diaspora, to be associated with a branch of terrorism that's known as Al-Shabaab, that is predominant in Somalia. We have been dealing with these folks for a couple of decades.
Long time.
In terms of Black Hawk Down and losses of U.S. service personnel in the desert of Somalia. That brand of terrorism is still around. But, we have a shrinking world. We have calls from ISIS that are going out to terrorists and potential terrorists of any other affiliation. And I think we have the risk that people are going to answer to that, whether they're from Somalia, whether they're from Germany, whether they're from America. And so the pure lines of affiliation, I think, are less relevant in the shrinking world right now.
I just got a hold of a statement. President-elect Donald Trump has gone ahead and tweeted out about this incident. Before I let you go, again, I'm going to read it to you. Watching the news unfold at Ohio State University, our thoughts and prayers are with all the students and administration. Excellent job by the Ohio State University emergency management team in immediately notifying students and faculty via social media with the message, Buckeye Alert, active shooter on campus, run, hide, fight, Watts Hall, 19th and College. Thank you to all first responders who reacted immediately and eliminated the threat on campus. It does seem that these emergency responders need to be commended for their reaction here.
Oh, unquestionably, and good on the president-elect for saying so. One of the things that I heard on that press conference that concerned me was one of the media representatives saying, sounded like that she was unfamiliar with run, hide, fight. And that is a mantra that's been taught by the FBI across the country for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she had a couple of the words mixed up, but that's something that all Americans should hear and should know, because if you have kids in any kind of environment, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, college, or you're in an environment, a work environment yourself, run, hide, fight should be in your mind about, hey, what is my response to an active shooter incident? Perhaps this wasn't, but it may have been an active stabber incident. The same should apply.
Right.
Can I run and get away? Is there a place for me to hide, to build a bunker, to lock myself into someplace safe? And the last recourse is I have to fight and fight for my life. We should all know that.
Very good piece of advice before we let you go. Ron Hosko, thank you so much. We're going to keep everybody updated on this developing story throughout the day.